Hello, we're in England and I want to discuss the current proportion that goes to a vendor when an item is sold in auction in England. So if I take you back to 1970, I remember going to farm sales with my father where a farm would be dispersed. They were called dispersal sales. And the auctioneer, in those days, nearly all of the auctioneers, other than Christie's and Sotheby's and some of the big ones, were agricultural auctioneers. And on a Monday they might have a cattle sale. On the Tuesday they might have a farm sale where the farmer is selling his personal effects. And on Wednesday he might be going to a farm to sell livestock, cattle, heifers, sheep, goats, whatever. And in England, speaking about in the 70s, before obviously the antiques auctioning was a spin-off from the agricultural trade on the whole. And I remember also going to stately home sales. For example, I remember going to Stoneleigh Abbey in Warwickshire. I remember going to Ten Park in Oxfordshire, and a handful of other ones. I can't remember the names of the place. And the auctioneer would go to the house, sticker up everything in the garages, the stables, all the masonry in the garden, all the pews in the chapel, all the window frames that were loose, all the fireplaces, all of the paintings, furniture, linens, kitchen equipment, electricals, radiators, everything would be curtains, everything would be sold. And I remember going to stately homes and seeing marble fireplaces taken out of the buildings. And since then, of course, the auctioneers don't want to sell from premises because it's dangerous for the public to be walking around and things get stolen. So now you'll see very few house sales. You'll see some, but not many. So the market's changed, and in those days, the auctioneer might take 5% commission off either the vendor or the buyer. They wouldn't necessarily charge it both ways. And in those days, the buyer would be expected to pay for it on the nail. On the nail means there and then in cash, and they'd be expected to take it away. And if they didn't take it away, it'd be left behind. The auctioneer would just go. There wouldn't be none of this, taking it to a warehouse. They just leave it behind. And sometimes at these farm sales, the residual contents which were not sold were burnt in a pile. So that was interesting stuff, as you can imagine. Now you have the internet, and you have in England commissions of 25 to 30%, including VAT. That's the buyer's premium. Vendor's commission 15%, 10% plus or including VAT. You also have sundries for vendors. You have photography. It's between £15 and £60 per entry. You have insurance, you have storage. You have a lotting fee, which is designed to stop people consigning lots to a sale room which aren't worth enough. A £5 lotting fee is not uncommon. If you send your item, you pay £5 whether it sells or not. It stops people sending junk to the sale rooms. There was an online buying commission in England in some of the sale rooms, 3 or 4% extra. So you can see where this is going. It's getting expensive to buy and to sell, and the auctioneer is spreading the margin, and the vendor isn't getting more money. It's getting less and less money out of the value of the item. And what's happening now is you have the internet auctions, and most of the product sold online in the auctions is posted or moved, and most stuff that is sold online, and most stuff sold online is sent using auction logistics companies. So there's now this other third aspect in auctions, and it's the auctions logistics, and it is the majority of the business now. It's not a minority fringe thing. If you watch online auction in England, things sold in the room are perhaps 5% to 10%, roughly speaking. There will be auctions left on the books. There will be, they call them commission bids, relying on the honesty of the auctioneer. There will be the online auction houses bidding services. For example, there's ELA, Easy Live, there is the Sale Room, there's Invaluable, there's a whole load of them. And same in France, there's different ones in France. Same around Europe, America, the same. And what happens now is the value of the item isn't continually swelling up. What's happening is the proceeds of the item are getting divided up between the auctioneer, the vendor, and these auction logistics parties. So there's three places where the value is going, and inevitably, because the buyer is expecting to move the item, and the auctioneer is expecting for the item to be sold via an auction logistics company, the vendor is getting very little in the end of the entire value. If I'm buying something at the Sale Room, I don't care about the commission as an item or the hammer price or the post. I'm looking at the whole thing, the whole value. And out of that whole value, which is the maximum the buyer wants to give, out of the whole value, the vendor's percentage now is pitiful. You could say it's a third, perhaps now. So in the old days, the post office would be the place in England where you would take your items to be moved, but now the auction logistics people will go to the Sale Room, collect the item, box it up, send it to you. So it's very interesting. You can have intermediate, or you can have express, or land, or sea, or air. You can have, if you're very, very rich, you can have what's called a white glove service, where a company will collect the item for you, bring it to your house, put a picture, they'll unpack it for you, they'll hang it for you. It's called white glove service. I like the economy service. I don't care how long it takes. I tell the auction logistics companies, I get quotations, I say, I don't care how long it takes. I say, use old wrapping. I say, just use the cheapest service. And I don't hurry them. If you hurry them, they charge more money, and they often will charge a premium to get your item out fast. So it's a new departure. The internet and this auction logistics post is a new departure, and it's a completely different business to what it was when I was a child. My father was a dealer at these farm sales, at these house sales, and the auction market is very, very healthy and growing strongly, and there are many new entrants in England now using these online services. Only last week I saw an auction house set up just selling tools, carpentry tools. You'll see some interesting methods of auction. I've seen in England a auction house have the proper auction house online, and then it's now got a marketplace with timed auctions, rather like eBay. I saw another auction house have a 100% crate auction, where every lot was a box of junk. So it's evolving, and it is making some progress into the market eBay previously had. So I hope that's been interesting. If you're a vendor, doesn't sound very good, I'm afraid. But that's the way the cookie crumbles, and I can't see any chance of that going the other way at the moment. Thank you.